It has come to my attention yesterday that there are ghosts that my mother used to tell me when I was growing up that she was born with a black veil over her face. And it brought about really scary images. And when I see something just in passing on TV or even get engaged with it, I'm fearful. And I think, okay, that's not a place that I want to be. I'm aware that.
But think about what that fear in that moment means. When you feel fear, what is it saying? It's saying this thought that you are entertaining right now is so off of the thought that the source within you thinks about this subject, that this thought is your excuse to keep yourself from being with who you are. This thought is emptying you of who you really are. That this thought, this fearful thought, is so bogus, is so off the mark, is so not who you are and not who what you really are knows. This is an off thought. That's what fear means. This thought sucks. That's what it means. It doesn't mean there's something real for you to fear. It means this thought in this moment has me activating a vibration that is not letting me in the vortex. This thought is keeping me away from who I am. That's what that thought is.
And so how do I change that? I
release the thought.
Just like that.
Stop arguing for it. Stop saying, well, my mother taught me about that. My mother had these ideas, and my mother talked about it, and my mother even articulated very strong stories about it. And my mother even told stories about things that happened to her, and she started collecting stories that happened to others. And my mother told those stories, and we say, and how did those stories feel when you heard them? Every one of them fell off because the source within you was not vibrationally in alignment with those stories. That's all. Negative emotion is such a wonderful thing. It helps you to guide your thoughts into a better feeling place.
Mm-hmm. When I think of her, I remember her dancing, and that always makes me happy.
Just now, as we had this conversation, did our words make you feel better about that feeling?
Yeah.
So?
Yeah, it's just a direction. Just choose a different thought.
In other words, there are a lot of people who have been looking for reasons to explain why things aren't going better for them. There are a lot of people who have wanted things to be better, and things weren't going better, and so they look for every excuse in the world to explain why things aren't going better, because they innately know they should be going better, and when they're not, they think they need a reasonable explanation. And so people come up with the most ridiculous things. They blame it on the people they live with, they blame it on the government, they blame it on their mother, they blame it on people at work, they blame it on their employers, they blame it on the economy, they blame it on past lives, they blame it on evil forces, they blame it on bad luck, they blame it on all kinds of things. But in every case, it's only because they haven't learned to focus in a way that allows their power. And disempowerment always feels like fear.
So this is not a vibration that I need to clean up. It's just choose a different thought.
Well, that does clean up the vibration. Choose a different thought, and choose it often enough that you activate different vibrations within you. Train yourself into a different vibration. If you're little and every day of your life, it's sort of like what our friend had problem with the media. If every day of your life someone tells you a story that makes you uncomfortable, even though it makes you uncomfortable, in time they will train you into the vibration of that story. So it has become pretty normal for most of you to be a little ornery. It's become pretty normal for most of you to be feel a little undervalued. It's become a little normal for most of you to feel not as worthy as who you really are is frisky. Who you really are knows your value. Who you really are by physical standards would be obnoxious. Who you really are is sure of yourself and feeling good and high-flying and interested and eager and wanting to talk and laugh and participate and play. That's who you really are. But as you've let other people and their response to you be so important to you, you draw in and in and in and in. You become a mere shadow of who you are. You don't let yourself be the frisky beings that you are, you see. So we want you to care about how you feel. And the source energy you will train you back into friskiness in the same way that stories of negative things have trained you away from your friskiness, you see. Whatever you're giving your attention to is vibrating. And as you give your attention to it, it activates a vibration within you that matches it. As you continue to do that, that vibration that's an active vibration can become an often activated vibration. That's all a belief is. A belief is just a thought you keep thinking. So a chronic vibration or a belief is just a sort of habit of vibration. You all have them. It's like there are subjects that come up, and immediately as that subject is hatched, boom, you go right to your set point on it. And if every time you go there you feel negative emotion, that means your set point in your human form, set point meaning most practiced vibration on this subject, is just way off of who you really are. Esther remembers years ago going to a theater. Jerry and Esther went with a friend, and Ghost was the movie. And Jerry and Esther don't go to many theaters. It is so rare. And there they were in this theater, a theater full. It was a very popular movie. Did you see it? Mm-hmm. And in the part where the icky black beings came up out of the drain pipes and grabbed the evil no-gooder and dragged him away, Esther laughed right out loud. She thought we were way past that. She said to Jerry, I thought we were way past that. Her voice rang out in this theater of people who were cowarding in their seats. And Esther realized she was almost the only one in the theater who knew how absurd that was. You see, so many people have been trained out of alignment with what you really know. And when you feel fear, Esther didn't feel fear. She thought it was funny. She knows. She hangs around with dead people all the time. She knows what the non-physical is. She can feel the effervescence. She can feel the clarity. She can feel the well-being of the non-physical. She lives it. She can feel it flowing through. She knows there is not death, and she knows there is not evil, you see. So when something is depicted to Esther like that, she laughs right out loud. And because it's nowhere in her vibrational vicinity, nothing like that would ever be part of her physical experience. A woman came to us one day, sitting in the chair like you are, and she said, Abraham, I'm having this terrible experience. I'm driving across the Bay Bridges in San Francisco, and I'm having these panic attacks. I've driven across them many, many times, but now I can hardly drive across them. I want to stop my car and lay on the floor. What's happening to me? And we said, well, it sounds like you're running into some thought forms. And she didn't like the sound of that. Thought forms, what do you mean? And we say, oh, people drive across a bridge. Some are exhilarated, but it was not long after the earthquake and part of the bridge had fallen down. And there were a lot of people who are tourists that are crossing the bridge who are feeling precarious about it. And so as more and more thoughts are being thought that are fearful, and law of attraction causes a coalescing of them, there is a more predominant than usual thought form that you could tap into if you get into the vibrational vicinity of it. Not because it has any power in your experience, but because every thought that's ever been thought still exists. And law of attraction is gathering them together. And when you get in the vicinity of them, you're going to feel a stronger dose of it than you would if you weren't in the vicinity of it. But then we said to her, those thought forms have always been present on that bridge. What's happened in your experience that is making you access them now? What's making you feel more vulnerable? And she thought for a minute and then said, my neighbor was burglarized, and I've been going to these neighborhood meetings. We're trying to figure out what to do. We're feeling vulnerable. Should we hire a night watchman? Should we put bars and alarms on our buildings? And we said, it's interesting. Something activated that you've been giving your attention to that had been going on for a week or two or three or four about this. So she had newly activated a vibration of vulnerability, and when she went across the bridge, vibrations of vulnerability, now she's tuned into them, and now she's having that experience. So around you are all kinds of things, and some of them are so coalesced that someone tuned to them could actually translate them visually. That's why people see ghosts. All a ghost is a translation of a clump of energy that's vivid enough that they're able to translate it, you see. And so we want you to understand that just because it's vibration and just because you're translating it doesn't mean that it has any control over you. Everything is vibration. And more, you are becoming sensitive to vibration. And the more sensitive to vibration you become, it's a conversation that we've been having here today, the more sensitive to vibration you become, the more you want to be a director of your vibration, that's all. The faster the energy moves, the more you want to be in control of the energy of your thoughts. So think about it. You didn't just go to a neighborhood watch meeting last week. You were raised in an environment of those kinds of things. And so you got that vibration going pretty good within you. And now who you really are is calling you to who you really are. And the more who you are really is calling you. And the more you beat the drum of something that you're not, the more you feel it. That's all. We want you to realize that you don't have to worry about terrorists, and you don't have to worry about rapers, and you don't have to worry about robbers, and you don't have to worry about ghosts, and you don't have to worry about evil spirits. None of that stuff has access to you. You are the creator of your own reality. And when you're moving away from what is you, which is good, you don't feel good. Period. End of story. Nothing can assert itself into your experience. Nothing can assert itself into your experience. There is nothing that has the power to jump into your experience and cause you trouble. Every bit of trouble that you ever experience is just you not letting yourself go toward who you really are. Every single bit of it, every single time, no exceptions. So when you feel negative emotion that feels like fear over that kind of thought, just stop and say, it is good for me to have this response to this thought, because clearly this thought is bogus. This thought is a practice learned thought, but this thought has no place in this knowing that I now hold. And then just think about what you know, and that thought will go away. You can't think about what you don't want and what you do want at the same time. So just keep pulling yourself in the direction of who you are. And we love it. We love it when you feel negative emotion, because negative emotion is guidance that lets you know you would not ever. Here's this hot stove. Yeah, I can tell it's hot. Oh well. My mother used to do this all the time. This is deeply painful. But everybody I know does it, so that's not what you do, is it? What you do is and that fear that you're feeling is that same sensation of want to get away from this, want to get away from this and toward something that feels better. You don't put Novocaine in your hands so that you can endure it better. This used to hurt a lot, but Novocaine really helps. Funny smell, though. You appreciate having that sensory so that you do what's best for you. And fear is that delicious sensory so that you can do something better for yourself, so that you can choose a better thought, you see. People say, oh, but isn't there truth that we should accept and embrace? We hear your beeper. Isn't there truth that we should recognize and talk about and document and accept? And we say, we would not use the fact that something is true as our criteria to participate within it. There are a lot of things that are true that you don't want. Cancer is true. You don't want it. There are all kinds of things that are true. Let your criteria be, how does this thought settle in? How does it feel in my gut? How does this thought blend with who I really am and what I really know? How does this thought feel? That's the criteria. Doesn't feel good, but I can't get away from it. Doesn't feel good, but I can't get away from it. Feels like this thought is thinking me. It doesn't feel like I'm thinking it. It's so dominant I can't get away from it. We say, yes, you can. Stop saying that. Stop saying that you can't get away from it. Reach for a thought that feels a little better. Well, I want a thought that feels way better. Well, you don't have access to a thought that feels way better. You only have access to a thought that feels a little better. Find a thought that feels a little better, and then find another thought that feels a little better, and then find another thought that feels a little better, and then find another thought that feels a little better. And before you know it, you're thinking like like who you really are. And that's when you begin to live your life as you intended. Life is supposed to be good for you, and it will be if you'll let it.